Classification and matter. We'll discuss atoms, elements, molecules, and compounds. So you have a pure substance, and it's basically something that cannot be broken down into smaller particles using physical methods, such as heat or hammers, anything that breaks into smaller pieces. Like take a piece of paper and break and cut it into small pieces. There are two types of substances: elements and compounds. Elements are the simplest kind of pure substance. There are over approximately 110 elements. They're each made of a different type of atom, and there's a periodic table that shows you all the different atoms. You'll learn about this when you're in M2, but for today, we just show it to you so you have a general idea. Each name and symbol, each name like H is hydrogen and Li is lithium, C is carbon, but not all elements are equally common. This is the way the Earth's crust is shaped: oxygen, silicon, calcium, iron, aluminum. And for human body, it's oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, and 7% other stuff. You have diatomic gases. Diatomic means it's two atoms in a gas, like hydrogen and nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Most elements can exist as a single atom. Fe stands for iron, C stands for copper, but some elements exist as diatomics. Allotropes, which is a very complicated thing, but I wanted to throw it in there just to enlighten you. There are different forms of the same element. Oxygen has three different forms. You have monatomic, single atom oxygen, diatomic oxygen, two atoms together making one oxygen molecule, and triatomic ozone molecule. So when you're talking about atoms and elements, a pure substance can be made up of one element. And within one element, you can have different forms of that same substance. For example, you have a single atom of oxygen. You have two atoms together, which makes the molecule of oxygen. And then you have the ozone molecule. There are no single atoms of oxygen roaming around. You only have diatomic oxygen molecules roaming around. You have carbon allotropes. Whoa, diamond. Whoa, graphite, like the lead in your pencil. Fluorines. I'm saying that improperly. And carbon nanotubes. These are all different forms of carbon. They're just carbon atoms assembled in a different way. Compounds are pure substances that are composed of multiple types of elements, two or more. They're chemically bonded to one another. You have two atoms of hydrogen bonded to an atom of oxygen, and that makes a compound. It's a compound because it's two different things. They cannot be broken down by physical methods. They can only be broken down by chemical reactions. Like I would have to heat it and break the bonds. So when you compare a compound of water, H2O, two hydrogens and one oxygen, versus ozone, which is three oxygens, water is a compound because there's two different things. Ozone is not a compound because it doesn't have two different things. It's just a molecule of oxygen called ozone. There's three atoms of oxygen. Whoa, complicated. They have definite compositions. That means they're put together in a certain way. You put a little subscript, H2, the 2 means you have two hydrogens, and we call this building block the water molecule. Caution! The properties of compounds are very different from the properties of elements that make them up. For example, if you just have oxygen together, it can burn. But oxygen and hydrogen together is water. It does not burn. Common table salt is sodium plus chlorine is NaCl, which is common table salt, the salt you see on the table. Sodium is very volatile. You mix sodium with water, it'll burn. Chlorine is a form of gas, chlorine 2, is very poisonous. Mixtures is something that can be broken down into simpler materials using physical methods. There are three possible types of mixtures. There's an element plus another element. There's a compound plus another compound. as an element plus a compound. For example, there are two main types of mixtures. There's homogeneous mixtures, where the parts are evenly distributed. Salt, water, syrup, air, brass. They're put together so well you can't tell them apart. That's a homogeneous mixture. Homo means same, like Homo sapiens. That means thinking human. But homogeneous means it's all made up of the same thing. Homogeneous mixtures of liquids are also called solutions. Homogeneous mixtures of metallic atoms are called alloys. When you put uh, bronze together, it's copper and tin. That makes up alloy. It's two metals put together. When you mix liquids together and can't tell them apart, it's called a solution. That's a homogeneous mixture. Heterogeneous, the parts are evenly distributed, or unevenly distributed, I'm sorry. So, for example, you have spaghetti meatballs. You can see the spaghetti, you can see the meatball. You have water and oil. You see the water, you can see the oil. They're mixed together, but you can see them as separate things. That's a heterogeneous mixture. Sorry. The properties of compounds are totally different from the properties of the elements that make them up. In contrast, the properties of mixtures are related to the properties of the substances that make the mixtures up. So the properties of salt water are equal to water and salt. The matter flow chart, very important page. See matter, if it can be physically separated. If yes, it's mixture. If no, it's a pure substance. Is the composition uniform? If yes, homogeneous mixture, such as solutions and alloys. If no, it's a heterogeneous mixture. Pure substance can be chemically decomposed. Yes, it's a compound. Like water, you break it down chemically by adding heat or electricity. If not, it is an element. This is a very important thing. You should take a note on this page specifically. Here are examples, and we'll ask you in class what this is.